Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Nick vs Matt, Sienna covers, Victoria suspicious. The Young and the Restless spoilers for November 5, 2025, have been released. In the next episode, fans can expect Nick Newman to face off with Matt Clark, last played by Rick Hurst, aka Roger Howarth's Mitch Bacall. Sienna Bacall disguises herself as the police. Additionally, Victoria Newman, played by Amelia Heinley, begins to suspect Noah Newman's crash. Let's talk about what's coming up in the CBS soap opera after you finish reading. Be sure to check out the spoilers for our weekly Y&R here. The moral dilemma of Noah Newman. Let's start off with Noah, who is finally waking up from his medically induced coma. Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, is overjoyed and relieved that her son seems to be okay. The blonde will call Nick to let him know that he has to get back to the hospital. Nick will face a moral quandary as a result. He wants to talk to his son, but he also has a chance to confront Matt Mitch. Nick could simply inform Sharon that he will be there as soon as possible without providing any specifics. Read more, find out what transpired in the most recent Y&R episode. Sienna Bacall covers. As for Sienna, she will continue to work hard to hide from the police. While Sienna is busy doing that, Nick could take the chance to pounce on Matt Mitch. The woman didn't seem pleased with Mitch after Nick mentioned Matt's name. Sienna also didn't seem too surprised, more irritated and angry. So, there might come a time when Sienna could be forced to choose a side. Victoria Newman is a suspect according to the Young and the Restless spoilers for November 5. Victoria will consider Noah's crash. The brunette will get suspicious and think there is a lot more to the story than what they know. Everyone is hoping Noah can fill in the blanks, but he could be keeping a lot of dangerous secrets. Noah might not be completely honest or leave out a few facts that could later come back to haunt him. Read more, Y&R November sweeps spoilers, Nick and Sienna attracted. Noah wakes up, Kyle targets Audra, on November 5, 2025, Wednesday. Despite the fact that Noah has always been a decent person, he has been away from Genoa City for some time. Clearly, the young man has gotten himself into a lot of trouble with a lot of dangerous people. Sienna mentioned that Mitch was going to invest in Noah's club. It sounds like maybe Noah got money from a loan shark or the mob. If that's the case, Noah's danger might not be over yet, especially with Matt Clark back in Nick and Sharon's lives. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most on Wednesday, November 5, 2025? Write down your thoughts in the box below. To find out what happens next, remember to keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount+. If Mitch Bacall is really Matt Clark, is Sienna really Trisha Dennison McNeil? The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates question if Mitch Bacall, Roger Howarth, is really Matt Clark. Might Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, really Trisha Dennison McNeil, Sabrin Jenner? To answer that question, we need to explain who Trisha is, and how she was connected to Matt Clark in the past. Trisha was once married to Ryan McNeil. Trisha was married at one time to Ryan McNeil, Scott Reeves, who was Victoria Newman's, Amelia Heinley, first husband, the recently deceased Cole Howard, J. Her second was Eddie Peck. After Ryan and Victoria divorced, he married Nina Webster, Trisha cast, but their marriage didn't last, and he became involved with the much younger Trisha, who at that time was in college. By that time, Cole and Victoria had married but later broke up and divorced by the time that Claire Newman, Hayley Mills, was conceived. After Cole and Victoria broke up, and after Victoria had gotten involved with Neil Winters, Christoph St. John, for a time, Victoria wanted a newly single again Ryan back. So did Trisha, and Ryan ended up being fatally shot by a bullet from Trisha's gun that was meant for Victoria. So, how does Matt Clark Mitch Bacall fit in? After major plastic surgery, Trisha broke up with Ryan and moved to London with her father, Keith Dennison, Granville Van Dusen, and began dating Matt Clark's rapist Carter Mills. She returned 6 months later and wanted Ryan back, who by that time had reconciled with Victoria. Matt drugged Trisha and had sex with her before convincing her to set up Nicholas Newman, Josh Morrow, who had previously imprisoned Matt. Trisha came to the horrifying realization that Matt had raped her during their first sexual encounter when she learned that he had a date rape drug on him. Trisha then prevented Matt from assaulting Nicholas' wife, Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, a second time. Matt faked his death a second time, and Trisha was committed to a mental hospital. She drove Matt off a cliff in a desperate attempt to kill both of them. She survived with only minor injuries, but Matt sustained severe wounds and was not expected to survive. While in the hospital, Matt faked his own death and framed Nick for his murder. After that, Trisha was confined to a psychiatric ward, where she allegedly had hallucinations about Matt, whom she knew as Carter Mills. She said goodbye to the evil Matt, who had influenced her to do things like drug Victor Newman, Eric Braden, and seduce him. Despite her fragile mental state, Matt was still alive. Could Sienna really be Trisha, and not have recognized Mitch as Carter Matt? Roger claims in an interview with Soap Opera Digest that Sienna is unaware that he is Matt Clark Carter Mills and that he wishes to prevent her from discovering who he really is. However, Sharon recognized him, suggesting that he has not undergone any further plastic surgery. However, if Sienna is in fact Trisha, then she may have also undergone plastic surgery. She may have suppressed her memories of that entire time period as a result of the trauma she had endured at Matt's hands, whom she knew as Carter. And since he faked his death as Carter Mills, he could have been real and not hallucinated when he used her to do his bidding prior to her being institutionalized. We don't yet know how long Mitch and Sienna have been married, and he could be using her again in a plot to kill Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, the ultimate revenge against Nick and Sharon. Catch up on everything that is going on right now with Y&R. The Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates can be found here frequently. The Young and the Restless November 5, 2025 episode promises to completely shake Genoa City. The Newmans are once again beset by ghosts of the past, new alliances are put to the test, and old wounds reopen. This episode pivots around three central threads: Nick's confrontation with Matt Clark, Sienna Bacall's dangerous cover-up, and Victoria Newman's growing suspicion about her son Noah's mysterious crash. Together, these interwoven arcs form one of the most complex and emotionally charged chapters in recent Y&R history. Nick Newman has faced many adversaries in his life: business rivals, family betrayals, even his own inner demons, but facing Matt Clark again, now under the alias Mitch Bacall, forces him to relive one of the darkest times in his past. This isn't merely a battle of wills, it's a confrontation of legacy, guilt, and unfinished vengeance. Meanwhile, Sienna Bacall, a woman wrapped in secrets, finds herself caught between love, loyalty, and survival. Her attempt to deceive the police hints at deeper sins, suggesting that Sienna's past may be far more twisted than anyone knows. At the same time, Victoria Newman begins to see through the cracks in the official story surrounding Noah's accident, setting her on a collision course with the truth that could destroy more than one Newman relationship. 2 versus Nick Newman Matt Clark, history rewritten. Nick's storyline with Matt Clark stretches back decades, to the early 2000s when Matt first terrorized the Newman family. He was a sadist who manipulated, framed, and traumatized Sharon and Nick in addition to being a villain. Nick was rocked like a ton of bricks when he learned that Mitch Bacall was in fact Matt Clark reincarnated. This isn't just another Newman rivalry, it's a personal war. Every wound that Matt ever inflicted on Nick's family is reopened, and the stakes are higher than ever because this time, the threat extends to Noah. Nick's instincts kick in when he learns that Matt may have been involved in Noah's business dealings, possibly financing his club illegally. He's torn between rushing to the hospital to be with his son and taking the opportunity to finally confront the man who destroyed so much of his family's peace. This episode's arc for Nick is defined by this moral conflict. For years, he's tried to be the rational Newman, a father, a protector, a man who chooses peace over vengeance. But when it comes to Matt, reason has no hold. His long-buried rage comes back like a storm blowing over Genoa City. This confrontation isn't just physical, it's deeply psychological. Matt knows Nick's weaknesses. He thrives on guilt and manipulation, and the sight of Nick's fury only amuses him. While Mitch Bacall has created a new identity as a successful investor, devoted husband, and polished socialite, he is actually the same predator who once attempted to destroy Sharon and ruined Trisha Dennison. When Nick confronts him, it's as if time collapses. Two men shaped by the same past face each other again, and the result is explosive. 3. Sienna Bacall, the woman behind the mask. While Nick is chasing justice, Sienna Bacall plays her own dangerous game. On the surface, Sienna is composed, elegant, and fiercely protective of her husband, Mitch. But beneath that facade, she's unraveling. She appears to be a woman who is frantically attempting to straighten her lies during her encounters with the police. She gives the impression that she is covering for something far greater than a business crime with every word she says and every excuse she offers. The audience begins to wonder whether Sienna is Mitch's true puppet master, a coward, or a victim as the tension builds. The mention of her reaction when Nick brought up Matt's name is crucial. She wasn't shocked, she was angry. That single moment hints that Sienna knows more than she lets on. Theories swirl. Could she be working with Mitch against the Newmans? Or is she his next victim, trapped in a toxic relationship built on deceit and manipulation? One chilling possibility emerges from longtime fans' memories. What if Sienna Bacall isn't really Sienna at all, but a resurrected Trisha Dennison McNeil? Trisha, after all, was Matt's partner in crime decades ago. After he manipulated, drugged, and emotionally destroyed her, her life collapsed. She was last seen institutionalized, haunted by hallucinations of Carter Mills, Matt's alias. The Young and the Restless, on the other hand, has a long tradition of resurrecting previously thought dead characters under new identities. If Sienna is indeed Trisha, her psychological complexity suddenly makes sense. She resembles a woman who has been psychologically conditioned and reprogrammed in every way, from her suppressed memories to her instinctive anger when Matt's name is mentioned to her simultaneous fear and loyalty to Mitch. Therefore, Sienna's cover-up is not just about safeguarding her husband. It's about protecting herself from the truth. The trauma she suffered may have fractured her identity. In her mind, she could genuinely believe she is Sienna Bacall, living a new life, unaware that she's been Matt's pawn all over again. This dual identity theory opens the door to one of the most chilling psychological arcs in Y&R history. 4. Victoria Newman, the voice of instinct and suspicion. In the midst of all the chaos, Victoria Newman becomes the show's moral compass and intuitive detective. She has always had a keen sense of smell and a Newman gift for recognizing deception before anyone else does. When the details of Noah's crash don't add up, Victoria begins connecting dots others choose to ignore. Her suspicion isn't paranoia, it's experience. She's seen the Newman men make bad deals, hide dark truths, and fall prey to dangerous alliances before. She knows the pattern too well. Victoria's investigation begins innocently, with a few questions about Noah's finances and a casual look at his contacts in the business. She soon realizes the deeper problem, however. Mitch Bacall's name appears, and it is linked to Noah's funding as well as his near-fatal accident. For Victoria, that's no coincidence. The idea that her nephew might have been drawn into the orbit of a man like Matt Clark ignites both fear and fury. She is a formidable force thanks to her corporate ruthlessness and maternal instincts. But Victoria's concern doesn't stop with Noah. She begins to believe that Nick, her brother, is also concealing something. When he delays returning to the hospital after Sharon's call, she senses that his priorities have shifted, that he's being consumed by vengeance rather than family duty. In classic Newman fashion, Victoria's suspicions could lead her to confront both Nick and Mitch, potentially exposing the truth at great personal cost. 5. The awakening of Noah Newman and his past shadows. The emotional core of the episode is Noah Newman's awaking from his coma. It is a time of hope for Sharon, and for the audience, it is the calm before the storm. Although Noah has changed over time away from Genoa City, he has always been portrayed as the good Newman, loyal, kind, and artistic. The hints dropped throughout the script suggest that Noah's been involved in dangerous dealings, possibly with mob-backed investors. Mitch Bacall's supposed interest in funding Noah's club is a red flag that can't be ignored. When Noah opens his eyes, he carries secrets that could demolish the illusion of safety that his family has created. He knows more about Mitch and Sienna than he's willing to admit. His guilt over whatever led to his crash will haunt him, and his hesitation to tell the full truth will set the stage for even greater conflict. The crash, in this light, may not have been an accident at all, but a warning, or an attempted hit. For a show that thrives on multi-generational storytelling, Noah's Ark bridges the sins of the past with the perils of the present. His choices, made in desperation, perhaps to save his dream of owning a nightclub, echo the moral compromises of his father and grandfather. And just like them, he may find that every deal with the devil comes with a hidden price. 6. Matt Clark's Revenge Reborn. Under his new alias, Mitch Backall, Matt Clark is the epitome of vengeance. His survived prison, plastic surgery, and faked deaths, twice all to return and finish what he started. His motivation has always been rooted in his hatred for Nick Newman, the man who sent him to prison. But this time, his vengeance is layered, refined, and methodical. He is not only targeting Nick, but also his bloodline and legacy. He is hitting Noah where it hurts most by entangling him in his web. Roger Howarth's portrayal of Mitch adds depth to the role. Howarth's Matt is colder, more calculated, and almost charming as opposed to Rick Hurst's fiery, outwardly villainous version. He uses intelligence rather than brute force to subtly manipulate. He has become even more dangerous as a result of this evolution, the kind of villain who can plot to destroy you while smiling. The possibility that he's working in tandem with or manipulating Sienna only amplifies the threat. Mitch's ultimate plan, as hinted in the script, may involve killing Noah not just as revenge, but as a symbolic act. In Matt's twisted logic, taking Nick's son is the ultimate retribution for the life Nick stole from him years ago. This psychological symmetry, the sins of the past revisiting the next generation, gives the storyline a haunting resonance. 7. The Newman's tragedy, guilt, and the end of the world. This episode's focus on guilt and legacy is what makes it so powerful. Every Newman, from Victor to Nick to Noah, has made choices that ripple through generations. The family must confront the specters of their collective past when Matt Clark returns. Sharon must relive the trauma of Matt's assaults. Nick must deal with the repercussions of his vengeance. Victoria must decide how far she'll go to protect her family's name. Additionally, Noah, the youngest member of the group, is required to bear the weight of errors that he did not even commit. This storyline exemplifies what The Young and the Restless excels at, humanizing its characters while simultaneously plunging them into melodrama. It asks timeless questions: can evil truly be defeated, or does it just wear a new face? Can deceit withstand love? And can redemption exist in a family built on power and secrets? 8. The Identity Mystery, Trisha Dennison Revisited. Perhaps the most tantalizing mystery of all is whether Sienna Backall is truly Trisha Dennison McNeil. For fans who remember the late 90s and early 2000s storylines, this revelation would be monumental. Trisha's descent into madness, her obsession with Ryan McNeil, her manipulation by Matt, as Carter Mills, and her eventual institutionalization remains one of Y&R's most haunting arcs. Bringing her back under a new identity not only ties the current storyline to Y&R's golden past but also gives the show an opportunity to explore trauma, identity, and forgiveness. If Sienna truly is Trisha, her marriage to Mitch would be the cruelest twist of fate, a victim unknowingly reunited with her abuser. The psychological implications are staggering. It would explain her erratic behavior, her instinctive fear of exposure, and her conflicting emotions toward both Mitch and Nick. Her cover-up, then, is not just about hiding evidence, it's about maintaining the fragile illusion of a life rebuilt from the ashes of madness. 9. The Road Ahead, What Comes Next? As the episode closes, the stage is set for an explosive confrontation. Nick's fury is barely contained, Victoria's suspicion is rising, Sienna's lies are unraveling, and Noah's truth threatens to destroy them all. The November sweeps promise to push each of these threads to their breaking point. Will Nick expose Mitch before Noah becomes his next victim? Will Victoria find out what really happened before it's too late? And will Sienna's real identity finally be revealed? Each storyline is layered with emotional stakes and moral complexity. Every character is forced to choose between truth and loyalty, vengeance and forgiveness, when the past and present collide. Genoa City has endured numerous storms, but none as severe as this one. 10. Final Thoughts, a classic Y&R revival. This script represents The Young and the Restless at its best, a mix of psychological intrigue, family drama, and shocking twists that honor the show's long history while reinventing it for a new generation. Longtime fans are both surprised and recognized by Matt Clark's return and the possibility of Trisha Dennison's revival, which combine nostalgia with fresh suspense. The show's enduring theme of no secret in Genoa City stays buried forever is emphasized by Nick's moral quandary, Sienna's deceit, and Victoria's sharp intuition. Every deception, every act of vengeance, and every lie eventually comes back to the surface, and when it does, the consequences are always spectacular.